Hello and welcome. You with us here on Business Today. I am Abha. Here are the day's top stories. The three-day Auto Expo kickstarts, marking a return after a gap of 3 COVID-induced years. The buzz, though, is palpable. A slew of launches from Maruti, MG Motors, Kia, Hyundai steal the show, with the majority of the launches from the EV and alternate fuel space, coupled with the star-studded launch of the Hyundai iconic 5 EV by our very own King Khan. Maruti joins the EV crusade with their first born electric SUV, EVX, at the Auto Expo 2023. The model set to hit the market in 2025. Expect a 17 to 20% EV penetration of Indian autos by 2030, says the company's ED, Shashank Srivastava. Lackluster day of trade in Dalal Street as benchmarks end flat post a choppy session. Nifty settles just below 17,900. Sensex closes above 60,100. Prime Minister Modi shares investor optimism over India's growth. Speaking at the Madhya Pradesh Global Investor Summit, says the Indian economy has strong macroeconomic fundamentals. Hails India as an attractive destination for investment. The 8-day Auto Expo 2023 kicked off today with car companies lining up to show their latest set of wheels. While the 3 biggest car manufacturers in India are present, marquee crowd pullers like Mercedes, BMW, Audi, JLR are all absent. None of the supercar brands have turned up. But what has the Expo really been excited about? It's the presence of electric vehicles. Take a look at some of the big launches this year. Well, Maruti unveiled the much-awaited EVX SUV concept, earlier codenamed the YV8 during its development phase. The brand's showstopper at the Auto Expo expected to go on sale in 2025. It's being jointly developed with Toyota, and the platform will be the foundation for future EVs by the company. The EVX will be built in Gujarat and will also be widely exported. Kia unveiled the KA4 multi-purpose vehicle at the Auto Expo. The car is essentially the 4th generation Carnival. Interestingly, it's being showcased in India 2 years after it made its global debut. The vehicle has more angular lines, bringing it closer to an SUV. The KA4, headed for India, is likely to be powered by a 2.2-litre 201 bhp engine. Lexus has confirmed the launch of its luxurious LH300H van in the Indian market later this year. The vehicle is a twin of the Toyota Velfire, but with Lexus lines and much more luxuriously appointed interior. The MPV sports a 2.5-litre petrol hybrid engine, churning out 218 bhp. The Lexus is likely to be priced much higher than the 1 crore rupee price tag of the Velfire. Hyundai launched the iconic 5 all-electric crossover at a starting price of 45 lakh rupees. The bookings for the car had opened last month. The car is powered by a motor producing 217 bhp power and 350 Nm torque. Hyundai has also displayed the next generation iconic 6, first unveiled in June last year. The car will go on sale in Western markets later this year. MG Motors has launched the facelifted Hector and Hector Plus SUVs. Prices for the new MG Hector start from 14.73 lakh rupees, while the 3-row MG Hector Plus facelift has been priced from 20.8 lakh rupees. Both vehicles have been given a bolder front fascia along with a completely revamped interior. The mechanicals, however, remain unchanged. Tata Motors, meanwhile, cleared the path for the return of the iconic Sierra SUV. The all-electric variant of the SUV, once popular in the 90s, is expected to go on sale in 2025. A big difference is the new Sierra is a 5-door vehicle, not a 3-door as it was earlier. Tata has also displayed the Harrier EV, setting the stage for a massive push into the electric space.
I truly believe that the transition to electric mobility in India will happen much faster than what we are imagining. So towards this, we have a number of products lined up. Some, not only the customer comfort, driving comfort, but the whole digital experience, the interiors, the technology that will help consumers enormously will be on par with world-class standards. That's the kind of investment we are making, and we want to see this change happen and Indian consumers enjoy world-class products in this space.
Maruti Suzuki has unwrapped the EVX SUV concept, the brand's showstopper at the Auto Expo 2023. Maruti's EVX is expected to go on sale in 2025 and will be the company's answer to the upcoming Creta EV. My colleague Chetan Bhutani spoke to Shashank Srivastava, Senior ED at Maruti Suzuki, on the sideline of the event. Here's an excerpt.
This is Suzuki's first vehicle which is built on a born EV platform. Born EV platform means it's a platform which is not modified of an existing ICE vehicle but has been from ground zero built up, so that's to provide the maximum in terms of creating the EV architecture both in the interior and the exterior. So you can see in this vehicle the wheelbase is quite large, and that enables it to have a much larger interior space and also the flexibility for managing both the interior and the exterior. Second, this has got a range of 550 kilometers, and that's made possible because of the 60 kilowatt hour battery that will be used with this vehicle. And finally, of course, as we announced, this vehicle should be launched in the financial year 24-25.
Right, sir. So with the battery and with the huge focus on hybrid also, do you think that in times to come Maruti would eventually be very aggressive and very happy to have a good market share with both hybrid and EVs also, or do you think will that take time?
Yes, so I believe while there is consensus in the industry that EVs will become mainstream, but there is, since it is still an evolving area, there is no consensus as to when that will be happening. So the current projections by various research analysts, etc., is that it should be in the passenger vehicle segment about 17 in India, 17 to 20% of the market should be EV. Which means that if you do a simple calculation from today till 2030, 44 million vehicles will be sold in the country, passenger vehicles, out of which about 3.5–4 million will be EVs. So what do you do about the balance 41 million vehicles? You need to do something to reduce emissions from those. And that is the reason why Maruti Suzuki has believed that we really have to be technology agnostic in that, and we will necessarily have a mix of options in terms of technology. For example, we have CNG vehicles. It's a very large part of our portfolio. It's a very clean fuel, very low emissions. 20% of the vehicles sold today from Maruti Suzuki are CNG. Then we have biogas. Then you have flex fuel. One of the flex fuel vehicles displayed here in the Auto Expo, it can take up ethanol mixing up to 85%. And we have strong hybrid and hybrid, which gives you, the 40, 50, 60% of the time it works on a city on a EV mode. It charges, regenerates, it's a regenerative braking charging, so you have no anxiety about charging infrastructure. So I guess all these technologies will coexist, and EVs will also be one of them. EVs, of course, is, as I said, 17 to 20%, but going forward, I think there will be an inflection point where you could see a much larger adoption of EVs.
Very important point, sir. Last question to you. The budget is around the corner. What do you think should come in the budget for the auto sector? I know the government has done a lot of schemes like FAME and of course PLI schemes for various auto parts. So keeping EV in mind and keeping ICE vehicles in mind, do you have any suggestion for the upcoming budget?
Listen, for the industry, auto industry in particular, what we have found is there is an extremely high correlation with the overall economic growth. So if there is an overall economic growth, you see it very highly correlated with the automobile growth as well. So as long as the budget is oriented towards growth, I think it's going to be good for automobiles. On any specific ideas, of course, anything which supports such technologies as CNG or hybrid, those will be obviously very welcome.
Grille Cotton unveils their range of two-wheeler and three-wheeler electric vehicles. The Ampere brand series, the stock surged 7% on the back of these launches. Chetan has had the chance to catch up with Nagesh Basavanali, the executive vice chairman of the company. Listen in.
Back in 2016, we started moving from a metal industry to electronics and software as part of our sustainable mobility push, because the entire industry needs it, right? And that's the future. So kind of where we are today, we are announcing 6 new products, which are both two-wheelers and three-wheelers, both B2B and B2C, and which will cater to almost 2/3 of the Indian consumer when you look at the customer usage. And it will cater to, it will be very competitively priced. It will be available over our 700 odd outlets across the country, pan-India. And we have invested in technology, people, R&D centers, manufacturing plant, and here we go. This is designed, styled, developed in India, these products.
Right. Give us a sense about the products, sir, the two-wheelers and three-wheelers, and B2B and B2C would be definitely with the core focus. How about the products and the pricing would you like to talk about?
Yeah. So starting with the Primus, which we are opening for booking starting today. The Primus will be a high-speed 75 kilometers plus product, right? That's available with over 100 kilometers range. Very stylish. We have also unveiled the brand identity for the Ampere based on our Arctic Turn design philosophy, right? At the end of the day, it will be priced very competitively. Bookings will be open in our dealerships. We are also unveiling the NX, the next generation scooters for B2C, and the NXU, which is the B2B product, which has got the versatility and utility. And also 3 new products on the three-wheelers, which move both people and cargo. Each one of this, the Primus will be ready to launch today for bookings and will come out later this quarter. The rest of the products will come out over the next several quarters.
Ashok Leyland unveiled 7 new vehicles at the Auto Expo, including a battery electric vehicle, a fuel cell EV, and a hydrogen internal combustion engine vehicle. Business Today's Karishma Sudani caught up with the company's Chief Technology Officer, Dr. N. Sravanan, from the sidelines of the event. Here's his view on the launch pipeline and plans for FY24.
We look at 2 aspects. One is technology readiness, which is in our hands, and we believe we'll be ready in the next 12 to 24 months, depending on which product it is. The hydrogen takes a little bit longer because of new technology, whereas the battery electric vehicle will be in the market much sooner. Similarly, LNG and CNG will be in the market much sooner. But the challenge remains the ecosystem, right? You can have a hydrogen ICE product, but you need to have hydrogen supply. So we believe we will work with some partners. We'll also look at how the policy is shaping up. We want to make sure that the product is ready, and then we'll see how we can enable the entire ecosystem of partners. So it's a question of ecosystem availability, not just product. So I think it's going to be an interplay between those two, and that's why we're not able to say what exactly when will this happen. But from product readiness perspective, we'll do it sooner than later.
Right. What is your focus going to be when it comes to the investment perspective? Where do you see your capex in the coming years? Where do you want to focus more on?
I think what will happen is, rather than talk about how much capex, you'll start seeing some tapering of capex in diesel, simultaneously increase of capex for alternate fuels. And there'll be also some shift in terms of absolute numbers. We'll have to increase because we have to work on multiple fronts. I think we do see tapering off a little bit in diesel, gradually of course, but then at the same time that will be invested more in the alternate fuels.
Right. How has the last year been? Because we are almost going to step into the new financial. How was financial year 2023 for you, and any major big bank plans for FY24?
I think it has been good for us. In fact, I know we actually reached probably a bottom the year before in terms of market share and revenues, but I think there's been a fantastic comeback for us. We have come back to 30% plus market shares. We expect the growth to continue, and we hope we'll be there to leverage the increase in commercial vehicle sales. And we have a fantastic product lineup, even in diesel, right? And I think we are seeing the strength of that in the revenues and the market share, and hopefully it will continue next year.
Prime Minister Modi lauding India's macro fundamentals, saying we are on track to become the fastest growing economy in the elite G20 pack. Speaking at the Madhya Pradesh Global Investor Summit, he hailed India's resilience as a bright spot in the face of global headwinds. Listen in.
The IMF sees India as a bright spot in the global economy. The World Bank says that India is in a better position to deal with global headwinds than many other countries. This is because of India's strong macroeconomic fundamentals. OECD has said that India will be among the fastest growing economies in the G20 group this year. According to Morgan Stanley, India is moving towards becoming the world's third largest economy in the next 4 or 5 years. The CEO of McKinsey had said that this is not only India's decade, but India's century. Institutions and credible voices that track the global economy have unprecedented confidence in India. The same optimism is also shared by global investors.
Now, after a volatile session, the Nifty and Sensex anchored near the flat line as investors remained cautious ahead of inflation data. Nifty remained range-bound throughout the session and closed close to 17,896. And the Sensex down also just about flat, 60,106 is where we ended. Now, the most beaten down sector, IT, started the day on a strongish note, but shed some of those gains, ending in the green, but shedding some of the earlier gains in the day. Those are some of the other losers on your screen: Bharti, Cipla, Divi's, Apollo, HUL. In fact, Bharti down close to 4% today. So those were some of the laggards in trade. Hindalco, however, climbed 3%, followed by Sun Pharma, BPCL and Ultratech Cement. All of those up 1.5% or so. Can the market snap out of the current bear grip? Should you buy into the dip? My colleague Sakshi spoke with Hemang Jani of Motilal Oswal. Let's listen in to a slice of that conversation.
PSU banking space will do reasonably okay. It will not do as well as what we have seen in the last year. But I think we should stay focused on to SBI, POB, Can Bank. I don't think we should go too far in terms of the smaller PSU banks, because that is where when the market is tough, the performance may not be that good. But overall, we have a positive view on these three names which I have outlined.
Okay, and what about your take on the entire auto space, especially with this, auto show now underway? We are seeing some already, some footages coming in as far as the Maruti Suzuki's EV goes, and that's the first one from their basket and slated to release on 2025 as well. Your entire take on that auto space and on Tata Motors especially, because yesterday we saw a spectacular move there on the JLR sales being quite strong, wholesale sales being better, brokerage houses being positive. And which is your top pick, say for example, from the four-wheeler space, especially when it comes to the auto basket?
Yeah, so overall view on auto is very positive. I think we have to select the right pockets. So the passenger vehicle would be one category where the view is very positive. Also the CV players, we have a positive view. Two-wheelers is something that we are avoiding at this point because there is not much of clarity. And talking about the stocks, I think definitely Tata Motors would be one stock that we would like to go with at this point, mainly because of the combination of positive news flow on the JLR side. Even the domestic PV cycle is turning positive. CV cycle is reasonably good. So the stock has underperformed. So there is some room for upside over there. And as far as other companies in the auto sector are concerned, we would bet on two names. One is Mahindra, the other one is Maruti, because of the kind of product pipeline that they have and the response which they are getting.
Staying with markets and macros, the World Bank has gone ahead and made some sharp cuts in global growth projections. The Washington-based lender predicts global growth at 1.7%. This is about half the pace projected in June last year. This would be the third worst performance in the last 3 decades. The bank also states that persistent inflation and higher interest rates could tip the world into a recession. But silver lining for India, because the report states that India is expected to be among the fastest growing emerging markets. The lender, however, does expect growth to slow at 6.6% over the next fiscal versus 6.9% that was estimated for FY23.